So once it goes live, let me know, and then I can search for it on my phone. A lot of times the other person gets the
It says
note.
live on Facebook.
Okay. Yay, we're on Facebook. Okay, so sweet. Okay, I'll just keep coming back because it's obviously here. Yay! I just want to make sure that we can see the comments. Do you see the video yet?
Let's see.
So it's
yep.
Did you? Maybe I could. Yay, us. Let me find it. I can see the comments. The comments. Can you start seeing the comments? I've seen people around. Yep. Sweet. Can you comment? I'm not able to find it.
Here, I'll tag you.
Say hey. Hey. Erin Stabile in the house.
I'll tag one of the versions of you that's on Facebook.
One of the versions. Can you tag a version? There it is. Thank you, my dear. Yay. Thank you. Okay, so we got 3 people on. So we got Kirsty and Kelly and Kim Turner. Okay, so perfect. Yay. Yay. We got it. Alrighty, Friday. We got Kelly and Kirsty and Kim. A bunch of K's. I love it. There's a lot more. There's people are popping on in. Let us know when you're here. Super excited to be in your energies. So very, very, very excited. What's that?
I gotta put my glasses on so I can read.
You can read. Do it. Do it. I love it, Erin. Crystal's here. Wahoo, Erin. Happy Friday, says Kelly. We're almost there. So very, very excited to have Erin Stabile on here this evening. She's from Vintage Moons and absolutely incredible to be in her energy. She is a VIP, a medium. She is a DNA activationist, does Akashic records, and is also a Reiki master teacher. And just absolutely wonderful to be in your energy this evening, Erin Stabile. So we'd love to hear more about you. What up? And more about you, and also any spiritual experience you'd want to share with our audience.
They're all interesting, so it's hard to pick them out. I don't know.
Can you tell us about George? I like George.
He's interesting. Challenging and can be kind of an asshole.
George is Erin's main guide, right? Mm-hmm. He is. Sometimes it's hard to be in his energy. Like you said, he's very direct. At the last angel party, he knocked over my light.
Him and Joel were just going like this, like that.
So funny. I love it. I love witnessing you too, Erin. It's just been an incredible journey. I think are we coming up on 2 years that we've known each other? I think so.
I think.
Yeah. It's incredible. But yeah, you're right. There is so many different experiences. And I feel like once you're kind of in it, it's almost like, well, that was really cool. And that was really cool. And that was really cool. I think one of mine that stands out when I've been with you was at the Sedona retreat when you were talking about galactic beings, aka aliens. You're like, look, there's a spaceship up there. I'm like, I don't want to look. Sure enough, there's a spaceship. I think I was teaching or something, and you kept looking over my shoulder because there was stuff watching us through the window. What was that? What did you see?
Up until that point, I hadn't really had any experiences with them, and spiritually, I've always been super scared of spirits. So to start doing spiritual work, I'm no longer scared of anything negative, positive, spirit-wise, but the one thing I really didn't want experience with was the galactic friends. And then after Sedona, just when you and I were in that van driving through, I just was that energy hit me, and I was just oh fuck, I just knew it. I was just oh crap. And then so the house we stayed in, Heather's kind of sat in front of us, and there's big bay windows with just the rocks in the back, and then like they literally were just lining up like on that formation, and I was like, how fucking many are there? Like, I was just like, oh God. And then, they're just everywhere the whole time we were there. So it was kind of like, all right, like, alrighty. I
Here
just,
they are.
but then once you start like kind of digging in, they're like, we don't probe people, and it's like kind of those misconceptions and all of those things that we think happen. Like they do a lot of healing on us. So people could probably mistake that. You know what I mean? Take it as you're being hurt. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
hurt but it's all of the experiences that I have had is they're very healing, and they do lots of different weird methods, but it could, I think, if your mind isn't like open enough, it could feel like it was a really scary, you know what I mean? It could feel like a unique or disturbing experience, I guess.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Just it's unknown. It's not known, and actually you were the one that brought the galactic beings forward. And like, oh, Heather, look over there. I'm like, I don't want to look over there, kind of thing. And then as we started some of our spiritual advising sessions, I'm like, well, there's a galactic being stepping forward. And I remember one of them is he's tall, green, and kind of flops his hands,
Yeah.
like when he comes in, like that kind of thing.
That's
Almost
the
like
one that was in my TV that night. Like,
oh, okay.
when I woke up, like I always stream TV to go to sleep. It's just one of those things because I was so paranoid as a kid. You know what I mean? Like I always have to have sound, and like the streaming had shut off, and I just look in my TV and I didn't have my glasses on, but all I just saw was this green face coming out from the bottom, and I was like, what the fuck? Like it really freaked me out, and I was like, come on, what are you doing? You're not supposed to like scare me or freak me out. And they're like, well, we're outside of your 6-foot rule. I'm like, come on. I'm like, okay, fine. So I had to add, you can't be on my ceiling. You can't be like, like you have to expand your restrictions because they thought it was hilarious, but I'm like, dude, no.
Right, right. Well, and just like you're talking about, like with the restrictions or like protection, or this is what I want from you. This is what I need from you. And I feel like we do have control of being able to tell spirit or tell whoever is around what we want, what we desire. I know a lot of times for the longest time they were waking me up every morning at 3 a.m. and there's just like a bunch of them, and I'm like, okay, stop already, because I was having a really hard time sleeping, and then I'd have a really hard time the next day because there was just so many spirits in my room. And so just telling them, okay, you need to go, not at night. I deserve a good night's sleep. And then for a little while too, they would flicker the lights, and I just could not handle that either. I was just like, no, and so it's good though, because we can really put those boundaries up, which you had to do, which is like, I love how they took it so literal with you. You're like, oh my
They're
god.
very like you have to spell it out. I've had a couple times with spirit was like my ex-boyfriend who had taken his life, like jumped into my body, and like I had a really hard time with that after that, because I'm like, if you guys are supposed to protect me, why would you let that happen? Like I had a really hard time being okay after that, because I really I have trust issues anyway, so I really felt like I couldn't trust spirit to protect me. And they're like, that's not the case. You have to trust us to know that we let it happen for a reason. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if you're super sensitive and you're not willing to like really dig into stuff, that you could easily just stop doing spiritual stuff, because it can be freaky. And I've come across a lot of dark things or scary things. And but I think just because I try to figure it out, you know what I mean? I don't kind of let it end me or, scare me enough that like my fear is really gone with spirit now, but that one really bothered me, that they would just let him, because I literally just saw him just run and jump into my body, and it like freaked me right the hell out. And I was just like, I just felt betrayed. It was just like this big, it was a really hard one for me, that was a hard one with me for spirit.
Mm-hmm. And then like, how did you remedy that then?
So like I really had to kind of talk to my spirit team and Jesus, because he was here. I mean, like they were all standing there and just let it happen. So I'm like, all of you are supposed to protect me. I ask you every day to protect me. And then my home, my kids, my house, like, and then you let that happen. And they're like, you have to trust that we let it happen for a reason. We're not going to just let, you know what I mean? And so what spirit was telling me was that like he's always around. I always kind of know he's around, but I was blocking him enough and he wanted to talk, things that had happened between us and whatever. And, he's like, this is the only way that I can get you to pay attention. Like I didn't feel like I had that type of resentment towards him, but um, spirit was just like I needed it because I needed to have this trust exercise. Yeah. And he needed it because he needed to explain and whatever and some things, So it was like, and this kind of happened during my DNA activation. So it was already kind of like the up and down. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a harder one for me.
Mm-hmm. And, just recognizing that it, like you said, like it happened for a reason. And that's hard because obviously like our fear response is going to take over. I remember having a dream and I shared it with you the next day, just because you've had similar dreams where it was a man that had come in. He was in spirit, but he just started kind of choking me. And I was just like, kind of going like that. And I was paralyzed, in the sleep paralysis. And I just remember just being like, I said, let me help you, let me help you, let me help you. I need you to back off. And I just remember that I created a bridge of light so he could go to the light. And then he was able to go to the light. And I remember telling you about it the next day. And it was very, very frightening in the middle of it, because I was like, I couldn't breathe. He's coming in so close and he just wanted to come. He knew that I was a medium, so he wanted to come in and he wanted help with that. And I loved how kind of off the cuff you were like, oh yeah, like he just came in because he wanted to go to the light. And it was like that simple. And I'm like, you're right. Like really that's all it was. And recognizing like my fear response was taking over, but at the same time I was fine. I survived. Kind of thing. They're just trying to get our attention. So it seems like
Mhm.
for the spirits that have come in with you, like they were like, let's say, just trying to get your attention, which your spirits are active. That's all I have to say. They're active.
And that is one thing I had to ask my team was I'm so busy during the day that, if there's something that needs my attention or something I need to pay attention to, or I'm supposed to be helping, like they know that they have to touch me or they give me the like random thoughts because, I'm so busy that I don't sit and just think about spirits. You know what I mean? Like, so I have to have, like, I tell them I need obvious signs and symbols. Like, so that usually means that they are in my business or I mean spirits bum rush me all the time. All the time. They'll like run up and like just get into my face and um so it's something that I'm used to, you know what I mean? But I don't know. So
Not
it's
at first, but now it's there. Because I remember you sharing a story when you were younger that there was a spirit that was lying next to you snoring.
yep. Every night we did.
Right. So they do. They just kind of come right into your space. Like, here I am,
Yep.
which I love. Well, tell me how we met. How did we meet?
So I know it was in Woo Collective, and I think, there was a point where they were letting people go live or share into your own group, you know what I mean? So I remember kind of seeing it a couple times and, a lot of people in there were going live and doing stuff. And I think I just kind of started following the angel party and then um a lot of doubt at that point. Like I had just um decided to make some big changes in my life. I had gastric surgery like in December of 2017, and I know I joined VIP in February. So like that kind of month or so, I was just kind of like, and then I think we did uh like a spiritual advising session, I think before I started VIP, and then I was just like, you know what I mean? And I didn't really feel like I could do anything spiritually, or I kind of thought you had to be born with it, like all of that stuff. But I just joined VIP, and I just kind of let things happen. And then we kind of, I know during one of our sessions, we're talking about Reiki, and um, I kind of really wanted to do Reiki more for myself because of my health issues. And um, but I was like, do you do them online? And you're like, no. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Because if I was going to do it, I would rather, God, did you see something behind me?
Yeah, seriously, like you pick up spirit on film, because there was another time where there was like this little, it looked like a fairy. It was just like bzzz, right across. So watch Erin's film, because she gets them, she catches them.
Yeah. So I think we had done a spiritual advising, and I'm like, I wish that you did Reiki online. And like a few days later, you're like, yeah, spirit says I can do that. Let's, you know what I mean? So I think it was not a month later that I did Reiki 1. And then I think I kind of gotten through Reiki 2, and you started the mediumship classes. And I'm like, I'm not a medium as much as I wanted to be a medium. Like, that was like my life goal, to be a medium. And I was like, well, I'll just do it. And, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But so, Reiki master teacher and mediumship series later. And we've done spiritual advising kind of almost every week for a year and a half.
Yeah,
Almost 2 years, I think. And
it's been incredible. Girl, look where you are now. Like, you didn't think you could be a medium, and you got like these galactic beings coming forward. I mean, the loved ones are coming forward. I love listening to you, because I'm just like, I hope that people are noticing this. Like, look at how you can advance. Like, look at this girl. Like, spirits just come up to me. They come in my TV. I mean, come on, right? It's incredible. It's incredible.
And I think people need to know too that it's not like a switch flips. Like, I have done an ass ton of work. Like, we do spiritual advising regularly. I do tons of courses. I do a lot of reading. I practice. I meditate. I've kind of done all of my emotional and trigger work. You know what I mean? I have done a lot of work. So I'm not sitting here saying like, I'm this awesome medium, and everybody can do it, but you also have to do the work. Your mind has to match your soul, kind of, to be able to, you have to get rid of that doubt and kind of have a little bit more control over your mind. Like, my anxiety is gone, my depression is gone, like all of these things that I've changed in my life through my spiritual work. So it's a lot of work, and that's not to discourage people, but you can't just say I'm going to be a medium but not do all of the other work. You know what I mean? Like, you could probably still be a medium, but you're not going to be nearly as good as if you go through the healing and you go through all of kind of the processes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you have gone through the healing. I mean, I would love to hear more about what you're doing, like the DNA activation. I'm doing the DNA activation with you, and that's very healing. Thank you for orchestrating that. But tell us more, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your gifts now?
So, one of the things with spirit is, you really want to go in a certain direction, but you're not sure, and blah, blah, blah. And like, I really leave it open for spirit. Like, I kind of say, this is kind of where I want to be. And I don't pressure it, like, I really wanted to be able to do symbols, and I just put it out there and let it go. And then they started coming to me. And, I really want to combine spirit and like life coaching for the healing aspect, so that, if people want to grow spiritually, or if people, like, I like using spirit for life coaching because it helps you kind of dig into you. Like, programs, therapists, they all kind of have a standard package. And I like with the fact that, with spirit, it's really custom to what that person needs, that's kind of why I like to combine. So I'm not a therapist, I have some background in therapy, like psychology, but, I'm not a licensed therapist. I am a licensed life coach and some other things, but it's just, really taking, that person, and when they're ready to heal and do all of this work, like your life can completely change. And, I kind of went from that super panic attack, hospital visits for panic and anxiety and depression to I don't have it anymore. I'm not saying that it's gone, but I don't wake up in the middle of the night. I'm not panicking at work. I'm not having like, the palpitate. I'm not having the constant anxiety that I had for the whole 40 years of my life, the last 39 years of my life. And just, I think, to give that gift to people, to use your spirituality, to use your spirit team, um, to kind of combine all of that to change your life, and it's hard to change your life and change your mindset and let go of the things that are holding you back, but it's so beneficial. Um, but it's also work, like, I'm not a big fan of kind of I do all this and it doesn't work. That's not the case, because you're probably not doing it. You know what I mean? You're not fully invested in what you need to be doing. And I can't say that I haven't done that with tons of stuff in my life, but this is one area where I chose to not half-ass it, and it's with your help and everything that I've learned, and then it's just life changing to be able to do that, and to not have to live your life in that depressed, anxiety ridden state, because it sucks. It's a horrible life.
And good for you for being able to do the work and come forward with it. Crystal just says on Facebook, she was just saying, spirit is so strong with Erin. I completely agree. And Crystal just said, this is huge. And I feel like being able to be a witness to your journey is it's incredible to be able to be a witness to your journey, and also now to be on the receiving end of your journey. I just feel very, very blessed and very honored to be receiving, so you giving me insights, you giving me readings, you giving me an Akashic session, doing the Akashic sessions. I've had you do Akashic sessions with me. I've had you do Akashic sessions with my parents, and also with the DNA activation. I mean, I'm changing, and I feel like you're witnessing me, which is so neat. Like, how cool of an exchange that we can allow for that to be. Like, your gifts have advanced to this point where now you're giving, and it's incredible, because I know, especially with the DNA activation, there's various things that are coming up, and I know I can reach out to you. I know we do Marco Polo, and you're able to then say, okay, Heather, this is it, XYZ, this is what's happening right now. And we have to do that work, because that's what's going to elevate us. And it's been amazing doing the DNA activation, just because, I have gotten even more gifted, which kind of blows me for a loop, where I'm just like, gosh, I could see spirits, that kind of thing. I could do these readings and whatnot, and they're even closer now, or there's not like a delay. Like, sometimes before in readings, I'd have to like wait for them to kind of come forward. Now they're just right there, and so the DNA activation has really, really amplified things on so many levels. So I just want to commend you for doing the work, and then on top of like that is almost like the end result. Now you're assisting people with doing the work. Like, okay, here we go. This is what we need you to do, and really supporting. I know that Crystal's on right now, and she's doing the DNA activation as well. And her and I will talk like just like, how's it going this week? How are you doing now? Kind of thing. And I think even you've created a support network, with the DNA activation, and allowing us to be able to have that support. So with that, can you just tell us, you were talking about using spirit and life coaching. Can you tell us more about like DNA activation, Akashic records, other things that you're doing?
Yeah, so the DNA activations, and where it really came in strong for me with that, with the healing in your soul. So what I really learned through the activations was our soul needs its own kind of healing on its own level, and our human self needs that healing. So the DNA activations are sound, but what they do is they kind of stir up your DNA, and they allow kind of the shit that we bury. I mean, and we bury shit. Like, it kind of how they kind of show it to me is we bury it so much that it kind of like fractionates and goes into little pieces of our cells. So that occurrence in first grade, that traumatic, horrible experience, is kind of like in 1,000 pieces in your body. So what these activations do, what spirit tells me what they do is they kind of bring it all to the surface. And so we kind of talk about it in the class. You have to wipe yourself off a lot. It's spirit's job to bring it forward. It's our job to work through it. So the stuffing it down. So that's kind of part of the DNA activations. It's a 12-week class, but that part of that is every week, everybody has to like talk to me in person because it gets deep. It gets hard. That shit comes up and you might have forgotten about it. You've buried it so deep you didn't kind of realize. And you know, I've decided that there's going to be a screening process because if you're really struggling in life and with depression, you know, with some of those really heavy things, it's probably not a great fit for you unless you really are ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even that, I think it would be a very strict, like we would have to check in 2 or 3 times a week because it hits you hard. Those emotions, they hit you hard. Like they hit you hard, they hit you fast. And if you're not dealing with them and figuring them out, they're just going to stuff back down and you're going to have the same problems over and over, you know? So that's kind of one of the things I push in there is you can't stuff it down. We have to talk about it. You know, you're supposed to kind of write everything down that happens so we can figure out the triggers. Why is it coming up? Do we need to clear it? Is it a Reiki? Do we need to do Akashic? Like there's, you know, and then we do the weekly clearing kind of. So I do a custom weekly clearing in the group. And then it is a prerequisite that, you know, you and I have one-on-one time each week, whether that's kind of Marco Polo, which seems to work really well. So people, we can kind of get on and video message each other. And then you get that guidance and support that you need, you know? So I'm always honest and you know what I mean? So spirit's always kind of guiding me. So I'm always honest with my responses. And, you know, if it's something that you're kind of back and forth and I know that you're kind of not doing what you need to do, like I kind of push, not in a like forceful way, but sometimes we just have to be called on our shit to be able to move forward. And, you know, that's just kind of the person that I am. Like, I don't want you to waste your time. And I don't want to waste my time. You know, you need to get something out of this class. Cause like what I noticed for me was it is a hard, deep process. And then you're at the end, your soul and your body kind of comes back together and your spiritual intuition, all of these things are like 20 steps higher than they were before, which you don't really understand. And it's really hard to describe. But like now for me, if somebody says something, I already know. Like my doctor walked into the room the other day. I'm like, oh, you're pregnant with a boy. She's like, oh yeah. Like it's not even I don't even have to think, you know what I mean? So it's just, but I also allow those thoughts to come in. I'm not controlling my mind. You know what I mean? That control, those things, letting go of that. It's a practice to not control your thoughts. And the more you can kind of let go of controlling your thoughts, the more you're going to advance, of course.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been, yeah, absolutely. And I can attest to everything that you're saying. It's hard. And at the same time, it's really necessary. And I love our check-ins because I know that you're going to be honest. You're going to say, this is what is happening to you right now, Heather. And we need to move through this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And it's wonderful to have that guidance. And I feel like you really do listen to spirit of like what I need or what the other DNA activation participants need. Like, you know, does Heather need somebody to be very direct with her, or does she need somebody to be a little bit more gentle with her? Like you just know what I'm needing during that time. And then also being there with me and being there with the other participants, like with the victories, like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden spirit's like right there. Just like you said, you walk into a doctor's office and you know that she's pregnant with a boy, like boom, kind of thing. So it's pretty neat to be able to be celebrated for the victories as well. So absolutely.
And it is cool to watch everybody. I think there's 11, you know, watching them kind of just have that shift, you know, and just watching it kind of unfold. I mean, I'm going to be honest, those first 4 or 5 weeks is a total shit show, man. You're like an emotional nightmare, but even through the emotional nightmare, things shift for everybody, you know, because it's really cool to witness, you know, 12 weeks is a long time. So seeing the shifts that people make even week to week is like You know, you might still kind of be upset, but you move past things so much faster, and you can process and you understand those triggers. Like, you're like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? It's, you know, if you're ready to do the work, it's really beneficial.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And it is, it's so beneficial. And just like you said, if you're ready to do the work, you know, if you're ready for it, and also just knowing that you will have support. Like, I just feel that as well, like knowing that you'll have support through that, and knowing that on the other side, it's so fruitful. Crystal is just saying, week 12, they're solid, so much knowing, so worth it, so many realizations, and so enlightening. And Pam says it sounds very strong, very profound. Kirsty Harlan just says, like, my sister needs to do this. So how do people get in touch with you?
So my website is vintagemoons.com. You can email me through there, or my Facebook group, you know, Instagram, Vintage Moons Erin. So you can contact me through the website, or Erin@vintagemoons.com. You can message me on Facebook, you know, however, it's not, you know, I do work during the day, so, you know, it's not like I avoid people, but you know, that 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 sometimes, but
Yeah. And so you'll get in touch as soon as you can,
yep.
kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I just want to say I highly, highly, highly recommend Erin for just a plethora of things. It's incredible to witness you, you know, through it, spiritual advising, through VIP, through mediumship, through Reiki, and then just the retreat. I loved being with you on the retreat too, and just witnessing like where you are and then where you're going. Like, I just know that there's so much more, and so much more that you're serving others, you know, and that's your heart. Like, you want to serve others, which I love, which I feel so honored and blessed that I get to be on the receiving end. I know I said it already. I just feel like I'm so blessed. So definitely getting Erin Stabile's energy. So it's vintagemoons.com. And then Vintage Moons Erin at Instagram, and then Vintage Moons. You have a Facebook group as well. And then they can email you at your website. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
There's a contact form on pretty much most of the pages. So
That's awesome. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Erin. Thank you so
have
much.
a good night.
You too. See you later. Bye, dear. See you, everybody.